Hi everyone, Wendy Van Wyk here, Biokineticist and Ergonomics Risk Auditor for Ergonomics Direct. Today I'm going to show you the 5 basic steps to setting up your ergonomic chair correctly. When we look at good ergonomics in the workplace, we are looking at an environment where we are fitting your workplace to you. And we look at many different aspects when we do this. We look at your monitor height, we look at your keyboard and mouse placement, we look at your work surface or your desk height, we look at the lighting in that work area, and then of course we also look at the chair. So we're going to start with that today. We want to make sure that, especially if you've already chosen a good quality chair, that you are adjusting that chair to fit your body specifically. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Number 1 is the chair height. Now, rule of thumb says this: when you're standing next to the chair, okay, the correct seat height is that when I'm looking at this seat pan, that's the highest part of the seat pan is just underneath my kneecap when I'm standing up nice and tall. Okay, so use that as a guideline. Then when I'm sitting in the chair, so generally the height adjustable lever will be on the right hand side, and there's a little lever here where I can move my chair up and down. So the first thing I want you to make sure of is that when you're sitting on the chair, you've got to sit right back in the chair. So I'm using the whole contour of that backrest, and I'm sitting right back with my spine against it. The second thing is that my feet are completely flat on the floor. So if you're sitting right back in your chair and the seat is at its lowest setting and your feet are dangling, you need to please get a footrest, okay? Because you need to support those feet. Okay, now, so if my feet are nice and flat and I'm completely sitting back against the chair, now I've got to look at the angle of the knee. So we want to have a 90-degree angle in that knee, or even a little bit more than 90 degrees. And then if we look at the knee in relation to the hip, we either want them to be nice and in line with each other, which is going to give you a nice parallel thigh, your thighs parallel in relation to the floor, or even a little bit higher where my hip is a little bit higher than my knee, and that of course will then create that little bit of a bigger angle in the knee. So that's what we're looking at, right? So there we go. First thing, make sure that the height of the chair is correct. Number 2 is we're going to look at what we call the seat depth adjustment. So now we're looking at this whole section from the front to the back of your seat pan. Okay, now in certain chairs like the one I'm sitting on, you can actually, now the lever's on the left, you can actually adjust that seat pan forward or back. In some of the older chairs or non-ergonomic chair, you can't adjust that seat pan. Whether you can or not, I want you to look out for the following for me. When I'm sitting right back in my chair in the correct position, okay, now I need to look at the space from the front of the seat pan and behind my knee. Because what we want ideally is either 3 fingers or a fist behind the knee. If the seat pan is too long, it presses at the back of that knee, affecting your circulation and blood flow. And if it's too short, it's not correctly supporting my thighs and the rest of my body. So you want to ensure that you've got that proper space, of course with my feet nice and flat going in front of me. So obviously for taller people you'll have a longer seat pan, and for shorter people you'll have a shorter seat pan. So to be able to adjust it is absolutely ideal. Beautiful. Right, number 3, we're going to look at lumbar support. So we've got on this chair, at the back of the chair here, we've got a little lumbar support that can be adjusted up or down. In some chairs, it's built into the backrest, and the whole backrest can move up or down. Whichever one it is, you want to make sure that it's adjusted so that it sits in the proper position and supporting that lumbar curve nice and comfortably. It is about comfort. If your chair does not have any type of lumbar support, then I always suggest an external support. You can buy a lumbar support cushion, or you can buy an external lumbar support that you can actually strap onto the chair, and we are able to assist you with both of those because we do stock them. Okay, but it is important that it's adjusted correctly to sit properly in that lumbar curve. Right. Then number 4, we're going to look at the backrest, or the angle of the backrest. Now, if you're sitting and you're working at your workstation, okay, I always want you to sit nice and upright with your back right against the backrest, supported correctly. Now, in a good ergonomic chair like the one I'm sitting on, you can actually unlock that backrest, okay, and which means then you can recline back. But I always say to my clients, I want you to be in the fixed position when you are sitting and you're typing or you're doing computer work, and then when you're doing video conferencing, when you're sitting talking on your cell phone or whatever it is, then you can unlock it and then, oops, I've locked it again. Then you can unlock it to sit back and change your position, because that changing that distribution of weight and changing the angle of the pelvis, it does help to alleviate pressure on those lumbar vertebrae. So movement's always a good thing, but try and do it when you're not physically sitting and typing at your workstation, because we don't want you then to lean back too much, because then you start reaching with those arms and leaning forward, and then it doesn't put you in a good position. Okay. The other thing that a good quality chair like this, and this is our Ergo office chair with headrest. This one also, if the backrest is unlocked, then it also has a tension adjustability of that reclining feature, so that if it's unlocked, okay, then you can actually change the resistance so that you can change the control that you have when you are reclining. Because sometimes if it feels like you can fall off the chair, and now I'm actually using my muscles nice and controlled when it comes to that reclining option. Okay, so yeah, that's the angle of the backrest. When we're sitting in the chair in the block position, we ideally are looking at an angle in the hip of between 90 degrees and 110 degrees. 110 is actually better because that angle reduces the pressure on the lumbar vertebrae. But I'm still pretty much nice and upright. Go. Beautiful. And then the very last one for today, it's 5 steps, is my armrest adjustability. So on these chairs, we've got a 3-way adjustability. They can go up and down, they can go forward and back, and they can go in and out. So I'm just going to pull my desk closer to me here for a moment, because when it comes to the height of the armrest, and I'm just going to pull my sleeve up a bit here as well, we don't want it to be too high or too low here, because if it's too high, then you'll get that people tend to hike the shoulders up. And in some of the older chairs, they're completely static armrests. You can't change them, which is sometimes a problem. And the other thing, if they're too high, is that sometimes you can't get close enough to your desk. So you always want them to be adjustable. Then the other thing is that if they're too low, now my arms are hanging, okay, and now it's pulling me down, so it's putting strain on the shoulder and the neck because my arm's hanging, and then people will then also tend to lean forward because they're looking for that support. So it is important that the height of the armrest is in the correct position. And then when I'm typing, or if I'm at my desk, I want that armrest to be pretty much in a place where my forearms are parallel to my desk and my workstation and nice and supported. Yeah. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is that the forward and back, it depends on the person's size. If some people have really long arms, for instance, and they need more support, then they can change that. It also depends on how far away they are from their desk, etc. And then the pivot, people always ask me what's the importance of the pivot. Well, this is it. If I'm sitting now at my desk and I'm typing, I'm now pivoting them in, because when I'm typing, my hands are a little bit more to the inside or center part of the desk. And then if I'm doing a lot of mouse work, then if I pivot to the outside and now I'm doing my mouse work, my arm is still beautifully supported. So it is great to have an adjustability for the armrests, and it does make a huge difference if those arms are supported. Okay, and then for some chairs, if they're too wide for you again as well, you also don't want those arms to wing out, because that also puts strain on the shoulder. So you actually want the elbow to be nicely underneath the shoulder. Okay, that's the correct position when it comes to those armrests. Beautiful. Okay, and then 2 more things I'm just going to add. It's not part of our 5 steps, but the one thing is the headrest. So if you are going to use the chair when it comes to reclining, then that's when you're going to use the headrest, and then you want it to be in the correct position. Some of them you can actually move up or down, not all. And the only time I really want people to use this headrest is if they are reclining. Okay, I'm not really using it when I'm sitting in my nice, beautiful upright position. Okay, and then the last thing is, I'm just going to quickly come to the bottom of the chair here. When I look at my arms and my casters or my wheels, I want to have 5 arms and 5 casters, because it just balances the chair out. If you have a chair that only has like 3 or 4 of these little arms, it does affect the stability of the chair. Okay, and then the casters or wheels, you also want to make sure that you've got good quality casters or wheels that make the chair nice and easily maneuverable. That is something that we also can supply to you, is good quality casters that will improve the maneuverability of your chair. So yeah, that's what I've got for you today. So go and have a look at the chair that you're currently sitting on, see if you can make any adjustments. Go and have a look at our chairs on our website, ergonomicsdirect.co.za, and it's on our online store. If you click on online store and under ergonomic chairs, and then if you have any questions or you want me to have a look at your current setup, the way you're currently sitting, or you have any questions about setting up your chair, you're welcome to contact me, Wendy at ergodirect.co.za. We'd love to hear from you. Stay safe out there, take care, and until next time, cheers.